recent years, I'm actually known for three things. One, I'm known to be Primitive Payphone because my original name by birth certificate is actually Primitivo F. Paypon Jr. So a few years ago, somebody asked for my full name via smartphone technology. And when it was given to him, it was actually auto-corrected to Primitive Payphone. But it was also a very serendipitous moment because at that time, I was trying to challenge, and I've also been asking my why. How can a primitive payphone be continuously relevant in the changing era of smartphones and technologies? Second, I'm actually known in my peers and in my former company as the crazy guy who quit a corporate job to do something which does not pay any cent. And I'm actually talking about a project which we co-founded last year called the Dream Project Philippines. And third is, very celebrity-ish tag, I'm actually known as the Dream Boy. And I refuse to be called the Dream Boy because I'm not a celebrity. I don't even have a dreamy abs. But what we do in the Dream Project, we actually talk about dreams. For the past 9 years, I tried to study Philippines and social innovations. I've traveled as a volunteer to 51 provinces out of the 81 provinces here in the Philippines. I've documented for 9 years 701 social innovators, proudly Filipinos. But for those 9 years, I also interacted with more than 800 youth from different regions. Children of the farmer, children of the politicians, children of the CEO, children who don't have houses, children who were abdicated by their own parents. And I asked them about their dreams. And very interesting, 8 out of 10 kids from north to south of the Philippines don't have dreams in their life. But we hear a lot of organizations talking about trying to love the Philippines. And my greatest question is this one. How can we love the Philippines if we're not even part of a dream to make this country bigger and greater? So last year, I actually quit my job to do something so crazy like the Dream Project, which does not pay any cent. I was talking to my mom last night while packing my clothes because I flew all the way from Bacolod. And my mother asked me again, Nonoy, why did you again quit your job? So I told my mother courageously, that's how I learned loving life in this country from both of you, Mama and Papa. Because you see, I'm 8th of the 9 children. Sa probinsya, pag pangwalo ka, lahat ng second hand nasa sayo. We remember in the most trying years in Negros Occidental, when we were hit by bagyong Pepang and Rusing, we literally didn't have any food on our table because supermarkets were all closed all over the province. But the friends of my dad, his former employees, would actually go to our house and would ask food from our own table. And that's where I learned my first-hand lesson in loving this country. We do not give because we have in excess of things. We give because we have capacity to share and give. So allow me to engage you about the Dream Project, and I would like to call this 18-minute presentation as Imagineering a Filipino Dream. The rest of the paintings you'll actually be seeing are actually real photos of children we met for the past 1 year and 7 months. We collaborated with a seasoned artist in Negros Occidental to actually turn them into beautiful oil paintings. And all my slides would highlight how Imagineering the children of Negros Occidental are. How come the Dream Project, in a span of 1 year and 7 months only, were able to create 187 projects, including programs, community-based enterprises, and even infrastructures. Collaborating, yes, Father, we believe in the spirit of collaboration, collaborating currently with more than 250 organizations all over the Philippines, with no bank account, because the Dream Project is a non-profit, volunteer-based community initiative, which basically teaches our kids in Negros Occidental kung paano mangarap sa buhay. So I would like to share 5 innovation commandments that we do and dictate all our programs, even the processes, and how we do things in the Dream Project. First, thou shalt think of superior strategies with zero or inferior resources. We always say this, because the people that we serve don't even have food on the table. So we have to give them the value of dream in a way that all the things that they would dream of would actually come from the things they can afford to get from their own lives, and not look for things which are not actually present in their own lives. I would like to share our first ever activity in the Dream Project. We call it the Dream Caravan. A very, very interesting concept. A 60-minute workshop which does not make use of any logistics, but it engages people, public school students, from the most far-flung areas in Negros Occidental. A lot of people felt it was so inspiring, but we were actually inspired when we were doing this. Because you see, 98% of the venues of the Dream Caravan were not actually held in beautiful places like this one. It used to be under a mango tree, sa labas ng kuweba, sa marketplace, or anything wherein we have a space for more than at least 2,000 high school students coming from their public school extension programs. And for 1 hour, mangangarap lang kami. All the while, we thought that it was very cost-effective because we were not using logistics. Lo and behold, 8 out of 10 schools we served, their students didn't have pencils with them and didn't have notebooks. So I collaborated with Works of Hard to actually create this dream notebook canvas, wherein kids, for 1 hour, can actually draw, can actually write, can actually put anything relevant to their Filipino dreams. We always wanted inclusive programs in the Dream Project. So what actually worked for public and private high school students also worked for child laborers. It was very painful to actually do a dream enabling workshop with child laborers. Because you see, we wanted them to actually go back to schools from being child laborers. When they were trying to raise their hands, trying to tell the world what will their dreams be. They have calluses on their hands, it was bleeding, and for the longest time, they never held a pencil, but they've been holding cigarette sticks. Because they are child laborers in haciendas and haciendas and haciendas in Negros Occidental. What worked for them also worked for the top students for the program of the DepEd National Office. It also worked for out-of-school youth. Most of them are actually ex-prisoners in the province of Cebu, and it actually worked because this time around, we actually wanted to give them chances to be greater and bigger in their own lives. And it also worked for the country's top startup entrepreneurs under PLDT Smart and Ideas Space. So what worked for the grassroots can actually technically work even for multinational organizations or high-caliber organizations. We also wanted to introduce the concept of role models among our kids. So in the spirit of creating social innovators all over the Philippines, we wanted to also ask all inspiring Filipino innovators to come visit our province so that once in their life, they'll be able to see a Reese Fernandez, a Doreen Bautista, or even a Mark Ruiz. So what started in Negros Occidental as a Dream Expo turned out to be a national movement which has been replicated in various regions across the Philippines. And true enough, this is still a no-profit, no-fun project. Second is, thou shalt not do better savings. We always pride in ourselves that what we do are always very innovative. One of the many things we were challenged is, how do you actually tell a very poor community to design bags when in fact they haven't seen anything beautiful in their lives? How can you teach a fishing village to turn their children into beautiful crafters if all their lives they've only been looking into fishing vessels, fishing rods, and fishes? So we created this concept. It's actually a traveling museum which we call the SUITCASE Museum, and we asked all the brightest, most inspiring social entrepreneurs and designers from Kenneth Cobonpue to Reese Fernandez to makers of gouache bags to nominate one product so that for the first time, our poorest kids in Negros Occidental can also take pride that indeed Filipino products are world-class and highly creative. Third is, thou shalt think inside the box and not outside the box, and always know how to disassemble the box. When we do community-based enterprises in Negros Occidental, it would actually take us 6 months to dig deeper into the lost heritage livelihood because that's something which cannot be replicated by neighboring communities. Take, for example, this one. Hablon is our cultural heritage textile, and we lost it 5 to 6 years ago because nobody wants hablon anymore. So if we wanted to bring back not just livelihood, but our cultural heritage, we have to be more innovative. So what we actually did, instead of creating them into table runners, we actually created them into textile cloth. And we asked collaborators, like Talde Guzman of Risque Designs, that for the first time, try to turn our hablon textiles into the first ever hablon loafers, or the first ever pair of Philippine silk loafers. And all of these community-based enterprises are profitable now. From a usual monthly wage of only 800 pesos, right now they're earning more than 12 to 20,000 pesos. In fact, that it's more fun in the Philippines, pandan tote bag. It was sold at 150 pesos, and the Department of Tourism ordered more than 2,000 bags for that one. And that was the biggest paycheck ever. The community of pandan weavers in Calatrava, Negros Occidental received in their entire life. Next is, thou shalt remember that necessity is the mother of social innovation, inspired by Thomas Edison. We wanted to create a daycare center in this place. In this place, where every morning, the kids have to swim because the coastal seas will actually overflow, and the land is no longer arable for vegetation because it turned out to be salty. Livelihood was nowhere to be found. And when we asked 8 out of 10 mothers why they actually didn't want to send their kids into a free daycare center, they gave us an array of reasons. No food, no shelter, hindi malamig sa isang daycare center, wala kaming tubig, walang laruan sa daycare center. So we have to come up with the most cost-effective daycare center / community center, which would actually make use of all things we found in that community. From bamboo to mud or putik, we massaged the mud, to this beautiful bamboo stilt. We created walls out of the mud, combined it with rice hay and kogon. We embedded also green-colored wine bottles so that natural light could pass through, kasi wala din kaming pangbayad ng kuryente. And we asked also our collaborators, Ryan Aguas and Enzo Pinga, to also create aquaponics farm, because we cannot grow vegetables in the land which is already salty because of the overflowing coastal sea. And after 3 months of working together, we now created this one. It has 18 innovations in it. And for 3 months, we actually work with our tatay. Every day, from morning to sunset, they're construction workers. Pagdating ng gabi, they're hardworking fathers who would go into the middle of the sea to actually get fish as food on the table for their family the following day. And this is our inauguration last December 1, 2014. My last is, thou shalt always remember the pain in your passion. May masakit sa pagmamalasakit. And we always tell our members, collaborators, and stakeholders, you always have to dignify, define, and nurture the pain in your passion. Otherwise, your because or why will never be sustained. This is how we came up with the DREAM project. We actually found out that these are the top 5 reasons why kids all over the place that we interviewed no longer have dreams in their life. Discouraging words, low self-esteem, lack of passion, lack of opportunities, poverty of wealth for poor kids, poverty of dreams for both poor and rich kids. And this can be turned into this one. That's why with all our minimal resources and with all our networks, we wanted to change the game. Because may magagawa tayo sa kahirapan. We might not be the wealthiest people in Negros Occidental, but we are the most ambitious, we're the most dream-driven, probably young people in Negros Occidental. And that's why we put up the DREAM project. Why? Because for us at the DREAM project, dreams are still more powerful than poverty. Service is never an act of sacrifice, but it's always a pure privilege to serve the last, the lost, and the least. And for us, to dream is actually the highest form of nation building. And there's no dream greater than dream for a country. And our greatest goal at the DREAM project, if you combine all of those beautiful paintings of highly imaginative kids who try to engineer designs to live every day in poverty, but try to be gymnasts or architects or engineers someday, we also learn a lot from them. Because in the spirit of poverty, they never lost hope that probably one day in their life, they can also be as aspiring as the people we celebrate at the Dream Project, whom we call the Filipino innovators. Simple lang ang pangarap namin sa Dream Project, na sana, balang araw, Philippines will not just be a nation of Filipinos, but Philippines will be a nation of young Filipinos dreaming big for the Philippines. And when we talk of dreams, like love, to dream is also one of the most universal concepts that all languages can actually understand. Magandang hapon po.